Have you ever played a match and it just seemed like everyone was invincible? Literally, no matter how much damage, no matter how much focus you put into a target, it seems like they do not lose HP. They take forever to end up KOing. Ironically, this is nothing new. The reason why this happens is because it's a triple strategist comp. Now, this is actually something you've seen at high rank gameplay in previous seasons. But in this season, with the release of Ultron, now you're starting to see it in low ranks and in quick play, and players are starting to really understand why this is frustrating. You know, if you weren't a high rank player, you maybe didn't deal with it. Maybe you've seen it every now and then, but in high rank, it was almost every single game, which made it very frustrating. But now the player base as a whole is experiencing this phenomenon, which makes games very slow, very tiresome, and basically you just end up losing because nobody does enough damage to anything. That is starting to be a problem. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's talk triple strategist. As I said before, when it comes to running 3 supports, it's not necessarily something new. This is something a lot of high rank players did. If you probably made it to Celestial or Eternity last season or any other season before, you'd run into the triple comp more often than not, especially when teams start losing. They just default to playing healer, and then you have 3 supports on one team, and most of the time it actually ends up winning them the match. Now, it's no surprise that Marvel Rivals actually has a ton of damage in their game, which is why they need a lot more healing to complement it, right? In order to have a balanced state, you need a ton of healing to match the ton of damage. However, what tends to happen is that when running 3 supports, it tends to be a little bit overkill. And what I mean by that is, in order to deal with all the divers from previous seasons, Spider-Man, Black Panther, Iron Fist, all these divers, tanks like Cap, and everything like that, you need multiple healers. You need those 3 healers because that's going to alleviate some of the damage. If someone's getting focused, you turn around and you start healing them, and they can't KO to the Spider-Man, the Black Panther, and all that extra nonsense, right? However, now you're starting to see it more because the release of Ultron. Now, Ultron isn't necessarily a bad healer. A lot of people feel like Ultron's a bad healer, or Adam Warlock is a bad healer, or Mantis is a bad healer, and that's not actually true. The problem with these heroes is that they require the players to play slower. Marvel Rivals is a very, very fast-paced game, and you don't usually see a lot of pauses in terms of gameplay until high ranks. This is where people use strategy more than just like button pressing, I guess is the best way to think about it. And when you're in that type of environment, something like Mantis, Adam Warlock, or Ultron is not gonna do enough to help keep everybody satisfied. This is why you have the 3 healers, and this is why you're starting to notice it more often. So the remedy to this is to add a 3rd healer. This means that you can go ahead and play your game and be crazy, because there's 3 of us now who can help support you. The problem is when you're helping that one target group that is really reckless, the other target group is very unhappy because it's like, well, now no matter what we do, we can't win the match. There is really only one way to beat 3 healers, and you're gonna need to be very coordinated. And I'm not saying you have to be on a mic, but you're gonna have to focus all the damage into one support, and then you're gonna have to go to the next support, and then the next support. Sometimes it's very hard to do, especially if you have a rocket that's very hard to catch, especially if you have healers that heal a ton, like Cloak and Dagger with her ultimate, or Invisible Woman, a lot of CC, a lot of avoidability. So you have to pump in a lot of resources to catch a specific support that has a very good peel potential, and then you have 2 other supports peeling for that one support. This makes it extremely difficult because it doesn't matter if you're playing a diver or a sniper or anything like that. No matter what you do, it's healed up instantly. As I said, having it be a high rank only problem wasn't really too bad because high ranks usually know how to deal with it. It's still annoying and frustrating to deal with, but there's more of a sense of working together at higher ranks. Even if you're not on comms, everybody's on the same page in terms of what we need to do and how to do it. But when you do that in lower ranks, or you do that in quick play, people are not as coordinated. Whether they're on mics or not, the coordination is not there. It's not the same type of strategy, the same type of gameplay as high ranked games, which means that it's way more frustrating for you guys. If you guys are in that bracket or just like playing quick play, it's way more frustrating for you because you have to play out of your mind in order to beat that comp. And if you don't, then what do you do? To make matters worse, there's a lot of flying characters now, so it's very hard to hit the flyers. Once you get the flyer low and maybe you can get them with one more shot, they get healed up instantly and you have to start the process all over again. For me personally, I never liked the triple heal comp, ever. It was very frustrating to play in high ranks, and it actually made me stop playing on my main account in high ranks in all the previous seasons. It's not fun. I hate having to rely on my support to ult properly, and if they don't, we lose the fight. It's just too much power to supports. And so I would like an actual role queue. Now hold up, you guys are like, Poppin, I don't like role queue. No, hold up. Having a role queue does a lot of different things in my opinion. Here's one thing that happens. If you play a match, sometimes players do horrible, or sometimes they just, I don't know, randomly want to swap on the fly. When you do that, if you're a DPS swapping to healer or something like that, now you're forcing your whole entire team to adapt because you locked in a role you probably can't play or something you're not that good at. And now everybody has to try to scramble to fix what you did. Or if there's a tank that doesn't want to tank anymore and they swap to DPS, well, now you're down a tank and now you have to find someone to play tank in the moment. And it's just, if you have role queue, you can't swap out of these roles and you're forced to play the role. This means if you want to swap, but you can't swap to another role, not during mid-match. Maybe have role swaps during halftime. This is ranked. If quick play have role swaps, who cares? But in ranked, maybe have role swap during halftime or between rounds. That way you can allow players to flex and mold, but having role queue allows it to have only 2 tanks, 2 DPS, or 2 healers. It's not gonna be 3 healers, it's not gonna be 3 DPS and all that extra stuff. The reason why you have 3 tanks or 3 DPS or 3 healers, it's to counter whoever has 3 something else and 3 something else and 3 something else. If there is role queue, I'm pretty sure they're able to balance the game a lot better in terms of like how much healing and how much damage and how frequently ults are used and things like that. And I know a lot of you guys might be like, well, Poppin, I like having the option to run multiple comps, but I'm a solo queue player. I don't play ranked with 6 people. I prefer to just have everybody play the role that they play. You pick the role that you main and everybody's happy because everybody plays their role. Ain't nothing worse than playing a high ranked match and nobody knows how to tank. Nobody knows how to heal. It's kind of weird. So I would just rather have a role queue to fix this. Yes, times will be extended, but I'd rather have longer queue times and better match quality than quick matches and just horrible matches sometimes that you auto lose because people are throwing because they don't want to play a role that they're basically given because everyone else picked something else. You know what I mean? So I think role queue would actually help and benefit more. It would not only make it so that ranked matches feel better, but it would also alleviate this triple heal comp or these triple tank comps or these triple DPS comps, these comps that are just absurdly hard to deal with. I feel like if they did that, it'd make it better. This isn't the first time we ran into an issue with comps and characters mashed together and things like that. They had to nerf it in the past. And I feel like this is going to be a continuation of bounce left, bounce right, bounce left, bounce right. It's too much, it's too little. It's too much, it's too little. And they keep doing that because people continue to find these ridiculous comps that they have to constantly nerf. And then they find another one and it's just the same nerf this, nerf that, nerf this, nerf that, nerf this, nerf that. If you just have role queue, there's not going to be many of that. And if there is, you can probably nip it in the bud way quicker. So this is why I think a role queue is better. That way we don't have to constantly have these horrible I love the game, don't get me wrong, but dude, sometimes these metas, they're really awful. You don't have the 3 DPS divers anymore. You don't have the 8 flyers. Okay, that's ridiculous. But you know, you don't have the constant flyers or the perma 3 tanks or the 3 healer. Dude, 3 healers sucks. It's such a boring gameplay loop, especially because a lot of these healers are very hard to catch or hit. Anyway, I love the game like I always say, but criticism about the game is constructive criticism about anything is important, so that way we all can grow and we can all learn together. So, you know, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, as I said, about these weird comps that keep coming up that seems to be ridiculously hard to beat whenever it's selected. How do you guys feel about people swapping mid-roll, mid-game? You know what I mean? Like, how do you guys feel about all this? I really want to know what you guys think. Now, it's not the end of the video. You guys know what time it is. It's the hashtag Let's Talk time. If you want any questions answered, if you have any comments you want to say and you want to be featured in the video, do that hashtag Let's Talk in the comments below and you'll be featured in the next video. This hashtag Let's Talk is from Symphony W2174. Hashtag Let's Talk. I am stuck in a loop of ranking up to Platinum 3 and then falling back to Gold 1. The main issue I'm having is that Platinum 3 teammates tend to give up before we're halfway through the round. For example, my team starts on defense. As a support player, I use Invisible Woman on defense. Okay, I see you. The other team completes the push and scores 3 points. Now it's our turn to push. I play Cloak and Dagger on offense. Again, I see you. As soon as it's our turn, someone initiates a surrender. This starts the downward spiral of defeat. How do I help support my team and put the fire back under their butts? I'm sure I could get to Plat 1 if this issue wasn't present in every other game. I definitely understand where you're coming from, and it's not just your rank. It's actually all ranks. Every single rank, you got people with the defeatist mentality where 3 points is just, oh my God, we're in trouble. And what they'll usually do is press tab. I think it's tab on PC, and then on like console, it's like a different button. But they're gonna look at the scoreboard and be like, who's doing the worst? Who can I blame? And then they're gonna just type the score, 4 and 7. And it's like, okay, what does that do? Like, people don't really understand that making these comments just makes the game not better. You're not going to make anyone play better by just being a butt. You know what I mean? It's not going to work. So it's not just that rank. And also a lot of the times people in high ranks, in high ranks, you guys have seen me play on my main account, people just leave the match. There's a lot of matches that I've lost. I did an experiment once in I played 8 games, right? And I looked at my history, 8 games. I had 6 losses in 8 games. 6 of those losses were due to someone raging and going AFK, raging and disconnecting, or they would swap to a different role. So we had no tanks or we had no healers. All my losses from 8 matches, 6 out of 8 was that. What type of quality of gameplay is that? So it's not just you. It actually happens way more frequently the higher you climb up. Now I will say, generally speaking, most of the time, people that do that just want attention. So if you don't give them attention, they'll play normally. A lot of the people are scared to commit to what they're doing. I don't know if it's because they're behind a screen so they can act like big bad, but usually if they try to initiate a surrender, they don't want to surrender. If they try to pick Black Widow and make it look like they're going to troll, they're not going to stay on Black Widow and troll. People just want attention. If you don't give them the attention, what I've noticed is they'll straighten up by themselves, but the more someone types to them, the more someone talks to them, the more someone gives them attention and just doesn't stick to focusing on the game, the worse that it becomes, basically. So I would suggest just ignore it. I know it sucks, but these are the type of games that you're gonna get, unfortunately, until they do something, right? Now that they do people think that they don't like handle reports. They do. People that get reported can't play the game anymore. They actually just can't play competitive. So if someone is doing something to make you guys lose, throwing or something like that, report them. I guarantee you it works. I report so much, it's ridiculous. And I think the higher rank you go, this isn't probably true for this game, but another game that I played in the past, the higher rank that you go, the more serious they take your reports. So if you guys are feeling like your reports don't work, they do. And especially if you're a high rank player, oh, they definitely work. So I recommend hit that report button and then obviously just ignore it and play your game. You know, one thing that these players can't take away from you is your experience. You can still learn, you can still improve, you can still become better at the game, even if these matches are going like this. I've been there. I've had way more matches ruined than you have. Not to sound egotistical or to one up you, but it's just that obvious. I've had so many matches ruined, especially if they're smurfing. Like if they're top 500 players smurfing in Eternity or smurfing in Celestial, or they're gonna just say, I don't care. If they're pre-made, I don't care. And it kind of sucks. It sucks a lot. So I hope you're not experiencing as much as we are, but it's there. Can't do much about it. I definitely recommend you ignore it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the Let's Talk. Again, if you guys want to have your questions or comments on the screen, hashtag Let's Talk in the comments below. And if it's a good comment, and not no troll stuff, obviously, if it's a good comment, I have it on the screen. I'll answer. I'll give you my thoughts, and you know, the whole community can talk about it. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. And until next time, you know what I always say. Thank you guys for doing what? Happen often. Well often.